Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to another episode of our 1941 scenario as the Soviets in War in the East 2. In this episode, we're going to be covering our ground movement phase pretty much from Oryol down to Odessa and the Crimea. And then, as we mentioned in the previous episode, we're going to split this turn up into 3 episodes, and we might have a couple more of these, because I think instead of having 2 1.5 hour episodes, 3 episodes a little shy of an hour each might make a little bit more sense. And in this episode, we're just going to do the ground combat phase, or ground movement phase, because we're not going to be engaging in any offensive combat, for the second half of the turn here. And then in the third episode, what I really want to focus on are things like where are reserve units and where are they going? The reinforcements that we got, where are we going to put them? And then a whole bunch of organizational decisions, because as you can see, even just from a quick glance at the map, our organizations are just all over the board. We have Stavka units littered all over the front. So we need to devote some time to just try to take a look at all of that and see how we can optimize a little bit better in terms of what we're doing. So that's what the next episode's going to be. Then we'll do the in-turn in the next episode, see what the German player does, etc. And then we'll get right back to our regular cadence of, again, first episode of turn 5 having air combat and the beginning ground phase. Anyways, all of that planning talk aside, let's jump right into it. We left off right around Oryol, and you see here that we have moved a whole bunch of units in between Smolensk and Oryol, and we're starting to look a little better here. They had pushed more quickly than I would have expected in this gap, I think in an effort to try to get on both sides of Smolensk for an encirclement, I think is what a lot of that motivation is. Hopefully now, as they get into these swamp hexes and these heavy forest hexes, we can start slowing them down a little bit more than we have previously. But now we find ourselves with some more limited numbers actually defending Bryansk. And Bryansk is pretty important because it has great terrain for defensive maneuvers before they can advance to Oryol. Once they make it past Bryansk, we suddenly don't have a terrain advantage. Right? So if you look past Bryansk, this is just all clear terrain here as they continue to move east. So really, this is our best opportunity to slow down the German forces with these heavy woods and swamp hexes. The issue at hand right now is we just don't have many units to deploy towards that. We have this mechanized division that's on a train, and we're going to take them off here. And I think I might move them just south of Bryansk to maybe hold this hex here, seeing as we already have 3 tank divisions that are all on refit status right now within Bryansk. Let's see the 48 if it's getting close. No, medium tanks really I think are probably the primary thing that we're still waiting on in terms of TOE. Oh, this unit's actually very close. It's just missing some heavy tanks, and cavalry tanks are pretty low too, but so is that the 51st? Yeah, it was 51st. We're going to take you off refit. And then the 109th. How are they doing? Yeah, and you see they have no medium tanks. So they should stay on refit then. And back here we have some HQ units, another tank division that is currently on refit. This one looks like it got beat up a little bit. Yeah, so it has no medium tanks, no heavy tanks. It just has some light tanks, and that's it. So we're going to leave them in Oryol on refit. Down here we have this rifle division that is routing. We have this airborne corps. Yeah, and that's the HQ for all the airborne units. And they're just trying to slow them down a little bit, right? That's all they're doing. This rifle division is unready, but I kind of have to leave them there, otherwise we have no defenses as they move towards Bryansk. This 19th Rifle Division is really kind of similar. So I think on the north side of Bryansk, I've got 2 units here that should be able to slow down their advance, and there's of course more in between Bryansk and Smolensk. But south is really kind of where my worry is, of how quickly can they push past here. If it is something they indeed try, perhaps they won't. But I think what we'll do is we'll try to move some units north to help with this. So like this rifle division, I'm going to move up just a little bit into this hex. So it's not perfect, but at the very least now, this mechanized division projects zone of control out to here. This infantry does out to here, so it's not as tight as I would like the line to be, but it's going to have to do until we get some reinforcements in. And then down here, we really kind of do want to hold some of these really good defensive positions that these guys are in right now, right? Defensive value 8, defensive value 5. This rifle division is retreating, or they're routing, I should say. So I'm actually just going to bring them back even further. I might move this rifle division to go right here behind Bryansk, actually. We're going to set them to refit. Back here in Kursk, these are just HQ units, 29th Army. Well, the 29th Army, I suppose I can actually move that HQ up. That makes sense, I think. Let's go one more forward. So now that's in range too. It's going to make it a little easier for those guys to get supplies. And a lot of that stuff I'm going to try to do in the next episode. But where it's quick and easy for us, we'll go ahead and address it. Here we've started to build out a bit of our layer plan, right? So you see 3, right? Multiple layers as we look towards defending the north of Kiev. I had expected this group here to push much more strongly than they actually did. There was almost no action here. Here we have this anti-tank brigade attached to this, not attached, but with this rifle division. Their defensive value of 7. But it seems like they're about to be passed up by this infantry division. So maybe what I'll do is I'll retreat these guys back. Where would it make sense? What if we brought you here? Just a 1 there. And these are all clear terrain, and that's what makes it difficult. So let's maybe move you there. And then you I will bring down here. Trying to think if I move this guy back one, I think, further into the swamp. Because right now they're in light woods. Yeah, I think I will move them down. This rifle division can stay there. Almost wonder though, is it worth bringing up here and then moving this unit up? It might be. Let's think about that. I think I will, because there's like 3 or 4 rifle divisions in between here and the German front line. Whereas over here we cannot say that about Bryansk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy up here. And I'm going to move this one back. Try to help with the defense of Bryansk. And I think what I will do is I will take the weaker of the tank divisions out. And then move this guy to Bryansk, which gives us 18 defensive value. So now we've got 18, 14, 10 here, 6 here. Starting to just look a little better. There we go. So that's that. HQ units there. Kharkov. We just have a bunch of HQ units. That's fine. I did see this guy. So remember what we were talking about in some earlier episodes is the right speed at which to withdraw, right? is that the our line as the Soviets is in contact and getting engaged with the enemy's panzer units, but not their infantry units, right? Because at this point in the war, their infantry units, by the time they get caught up, we are just going to be completely overwhelmed, right? What we want to do is try to be just a little bit ahead of the enemy's infantry. So I think I'm going to move you back because you're now right up there against the infantry. And the question is where to. Again, I wonder if I deploy you a little bit further north. If we have you come here. Yeah. Maybe in a future turn I can have them come back here then. That rifle division I might actually do that with now. Because they're actually unready anyways. So let's do that. And then that airborne brigade I might leave right there. This airborne brigade. Might move him up here. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, right here. Yeah. There we go. All right. I don't necessarily know if there is a perfect answer to all of these questions we're trying to answer with where to put these guys, right? This is complicated stuff. I'm debating taking you back, actually looking at the map here and saying, is it better to maybe have this guy have a defensive value of 8 instead of 2 separate of 1, 3, 1, 5? So as it stands right now, they already have 11 against this unit, which is going to give them, if they get anything else in here, it's going to give them 3-to-1 odds against it, just overwhelming it. But maybe if I bring it back here to this infantry division and get this up to 8, that means they're going to need at least 24 attacking this hex at minimum. In between here and here, right, we have more defensive units. And again, I don't care as much about them advancing in this direction as I do them breaking past this forest and having this clear runway of clear terrain. Clear, clear, clear. I said that a few too many times. Because there's plenty more defensive ground for these guys to keep falling back to. Now, it does risk the timeline of Smolensk encirclement, but for now, I think we're going to be okay. We keep getting further south towards Kiev, and then something catches my eye, and we come right back up again. Yeah, let's get these 2 HQ units the heck out of here. You can't make it as far. You guys can come down there. Yeah, I think we might start pulling some of these back because I don't know how much is gained by stopping there. You're just depleted with 290 men. So I might actually have you come up here into this swamp. You guys can keep coming back here. Just doing a retreat at this point. There we go. Here, this rifle division, I think might make sense. Is this swamp or is this light woods? It's light woods. That swamp. That swamp. Or is it better to have you here? Oh, that's swamp. Let's have you go right here. Okay, these guys are still stuck out there. Now the Kiev line, we'll keep the security unit there. This HQ can be withdrawn. This tank division. Alright, you've already all moved. Looking at this here, we've got defensive value of 8. In Kiev, we're at 11. Which one's actually Kiev? It's this one. That's actually Kiev. So this is a forward line in front of Kiev. Okay. Might as well toss you to refit if you're going to be sitting back there in an unready status. These guys are all on reserve to be able to help with the defense. I assume I have these on reserve. This one needs to go to refit. This cavalry division is ready. Feels like I could use you somewhere. Let's maybe have you come north. So again, if you remember, from the very get-go, our strategy was not to hold strong at Kiev. Right? That's not necessarily part of our strategy right now. I actually think I know what I'm going to do with the cavalry. I'm going to bring them down here to try to slow this complete spearhead they've made, which is looking very dangerous. So I'm just going to have them come there for now, and we'll try to build around it. This line we're just going to hold as is. Looks like they might be trying to break through here. We've got 2 tank divisions on refit, 1 on reserve. So the 1 on reserve should be able to help these guys. But yeah, down here, we just need to get the heck back. Let's yeah, let's have this mechanized unit go here. This infantry unit can fall back to here. This mechanized can go here. Right, because we have units to the south. Rifle Corps HQ can come back. Looks like their units are actually all the way over here. But then come south a little further. This infantry unit, I'll move up to here. Yeah, I just need to slow him at this point. That guy can stay there and keep digging in. A lot of HQ units, which I just need to start moving back. Here we have Rifle Division and anything else. So let's have you come up here. Tank Division. You come back here. We'll put you on reserve. And then this HQ can come back. I actually got a couple of good defensive positions there. You're doing good there. But I think it might be worth withdrawing you because you're going up against a whole bunch of infantry, right? And remember our objectives. It's not to fight the German infantry, it's to slow everything down. These guys find themselves encircled. I think they have been for a couple of turns now, yeah, because this is all that rough terrain that they're digging in. Okay. It doesn't look like there's any hope of being able to break out. So that's going to have to stay like that. So it's something they're going to have to devote resources to clear out. This rifle division, I wish I could have gotten them further back sooner. So let's bring them back 1 hex, and maybe next turn or something they can... I'm hoping they can, like, route or something out here. But I just don't want them to get isolated, because then we might lose the 7,000 men. A couple of these infantry units I'm going to pull back behind the river. This HQ unit can come all the way back here. This guy's depleted, and I'm just going to send them here and set them on refit. That's good, that's good. Okay. Down here, as they push past Odessa, right, we really want to try to hold them as much as possible here and start building out our defensive line. Those HQ units can stay. The security division routed. I'm going to have them come up here. Oh, it's 28 men. Can I just disband you? Doesn't look like it. Shoot, okay. This rifle division, we're just going to try to have retreat out. This airborne unit and this rifle, or this infantry division. Let's have this guy join the city fortification. And then let's I'm trying to think if I want this guy to try to make a break for it or to join the fortification. I think I'm going to have the airborne brigade join the fortification, and the infantry I'm going to have try to break out. It's going to be tough, but we'll try. Don't think we have anyone else down here. Nope, we do not. So let's see. See how all of this is shaping up. Southern Front HQ should come back. Let's actually bring them back here for the Southern Front. And then I'm gonna get this guy on the other side of the river. Right, so now some much better defensive position. Pull back this tank division. I'd have to set them to refit. This rifle division we will also pull back. Okay. Those two tank divisions are on refit. This cavalry division is sitting in a defensive position. You can go to refit. This mountain division. Come up here. Right, want to start building out this defensive line. This guy can take off the train. Is there... it's not what I want. I wanted to see if there's a rail yard. Oh, he is in a rail yard. Okay, yes, we're gonna... You're off the train. Where can I get you up to? Let's see. Let's just bring you up there for now, and the next turn you can move into that hex. You are there. Okay. Starting to form. They're fine. There's a naval unit. Don't know that we have anything else here in the south to move around. A couple of HQs, but we might deal with that next episode. Yeah, so we finished the southern half of the front a little more quickly than I would have expected. So let's do this. Let's go take a look at the reserves that did get deployed this turn. We'll allocate them and then call the episode to a close. The next episode will focus on command structures, and we'll also take a look at some leaders as well in the next episode. And then we'll end the turn, watch German simulations, etc., etc. So let's look at what we have in and around Rzhev and where we need them to go. Right? So one of the concerns was this breakout that is north of Peskov right now, and how quickly they've gotten up there. So I think it's very safe to say that a couple of these units at minimum I need to get north, like ASAP. So let's look at where they can go, and if I can get them to a rail yard, I can then disembark them this turn, maybe. Yeah, so let's bring... I can bring you here, and then you can get off the train in the same turn. There we go. Let's do that with you as well. Take you off the train. So now we have 3 infantry divisions there. They don't have enough movement to move. We do have a defensive value of 6 now there. So hopefully that's enough to temporarily slow them down, right? Move this guy here. Put him on a train. Let's get him up here to Leningrad and get off the train. Oh, it's not enough. Is this a bigger rail yard, and can I take you off there? Okay, I can. But you have no movement points remaining. So, I think we will do one more north. Let's bring you up here. Take you off the train. Okay, so we've added a total of 4 infantry divisions towards the defense of Leningrad and Lake Gilman. And then I think we need to take a look at how we split out the remainder between the flanks of Smolensk, and if we need any here. I don't think I'm going to send any units here yet, because this is just some really, really tough terrain for them to advance through, and again, even if they do, it just gets worse for them. So I feel like we're in a much better position over here than we are necessarily on the 2 flanks of Smolensk. So let's start looking at where we can take these guys. We'll move you up to this rail yard. Oh, what happened there? Never mind, there's 3 on that rail yard, so that's why I can't move you. Let's bring you up to Smolensk then. Take you off the train. Then I can move you out of the rail yard. Where do I want to move you? Move you out here for now. Do the same thing here. All right. Move down this way. This guy I might move over towards Bryansk. I think. Yeah, let's do that. But first, let's actually take the tank division that is in refit back 1. And then we will take an infantry division down to Bryansk itself. Take you off the train. So now we have a 32 defensive value here, which I'm already then feeling much better about. I don't have enough. I could move you north. I think I will. So now we have 7 north. Okay. Back here towards Rzhev reinforcements. I can actually maybe move I really feel like I need another unit or 2 in this area. So let's have you come down here. You're not going to be able to unload this turn, which is fine. This tank division. Now a tank division I should deploy somewhere where it's a little bit more clear terrain to be be able to better assist with things. So I think I might move you to Kursk. Well, no. Let's actually have you come south here. Yeah, that's good. Don't have enough to unload you, that's fine. Go back up here to Rzhev. It's Rifle Division. We're going to have them come down here. These guys aren't on a rail line, so we'll be there. Okay. Let's actually take a look at this hex. And we have 3 rifle divisions all sitting here. Let's move one of you down here. And then let's move one of you kind of feel like moving you down here to help. Let them come there. This guy. Where do I want you? Is this rough terrain? Yeah, let's move you here. There we go. And now what we'll do is we'll take all of these to Veliki Luki. All 3 of them. And let's see how many of them I can unload. Just one of them. Okay, that should give me enough, though, to be able to defend the hex, considering everything else that's also surrounding it. We're going to toss you guys to refit. You're already on refit. Now I just need to move you somewhere, and I think I'm going to have you go north to help with the defense of Leningrad. There's a rail yard that I can maybe disembark at. There we go. So the next turn you can disembark from there. Alright. So, to reiterate, concerns are the push towards the gap between Leningrad and Lake Ilmen, because I worry about a very fast encirclement of Leningrad before I have a chance to create a defensive line through this tough terrain. Also concerned about how quickly it looks like they may be able to flank and encircle Smolensk, allowing them easy access towards Rzhev and further on towards Moscow. Down in the south of Bryansk, I'm worried about them breaking through here and having completely clear terrain through Oryol onto Tambov, Voronezh, Kursk, etc. And then south of Kiev, worried about this push that they have going east that just kind of broke through a bit of a weak spot in my line. So there are a few areas of concern, but I think we've done an okay job of addressing them. And really it's their infantry has moved up a little bit more quickly than I would have expected. And I'm hoping that when we take a look at their line, right? Let's find a good example of what I'm talking about. You see that there are a lot of units that seem to have been split, right? It's like this is a third of an infantry division all along here. Each one's probably a third of an infantry division. And they're only at either, like here we're at 1 or 2 in terms of offensive and defensive combat values, or 3s or 4s, which means even if they're combined, they're not even above 10. So I'm hoping that the march they've made, remember they started pretty much just east of Warsaw here, outside of Königsberg, right? That was kind of where the beginning front was. I'm hoping that this march they've been doing has fatigued them enough that it's going to allow us some opportunities. I actually see that I have a rifle division back here that I must have forgotten about. So I'm going to move you. Where was I moving you? I feel like I should remember that. I think I will take you north. Yeah, let's do that. Because you actually have enough to unload this turn if I take you north. I may put you in the same hex there. That might make sense. It's only light woods though. So let's take you here, and then I'm going to unload you. There we go. That's pretty useful. Did I maybe miss some units around Moscow too that came in? A lot of militias. I know the militia. Doesn't look like it. What else have I maybe missed? You I know about. You're from this turn. So are you. It's like a couple episodes where we just had a whole bunch of surprises sitting in the rear that I had no idea about. Yeah, they've marched so far that I'm hoping this is where the rate of their advance might start to slow. And again, ideally, it's slowing also as they hit this heavy terrain. You can just visually tell from looking at the map here how wooded and how heavily forested the combat's going to get as they get to Smolensk and beyond, which should enable us to find some more defensive positions. Right here, this is, I mean, it feels like this is almost entirely mechanized and armored units right north of Peskov, because that is just so far. And I certainly think I can, when they reach Leningrad, I certainly think I can hold it. My question is just, are they going to be able to encircle us before I have a chance to create a defensive perimeter? Right, that's the only worry I got there. But terrain is going to become our friend very quickly, and the other thing to consider is, if we are just to take a look here at the weather map, is they're starting to get some light mud, right? Look at this ground weather, this kind of tan is a light mud. And each pixel you can kind of think of as a hex, right? So it's starting to be about every other hex has light mud. Forecast for next turn as that continues. And you see that there's actually this rain that has moved in, which is going to contribute in future turns to that mud situation. So I'm really hoping this slows them down in the next couple of turns, which is just going to be ideal for us. And then we're actually, from a calendar date perspective, getting really close to this. Is really our objective is just to hold them until the late fall or winter of 41. If we can hold them until the late fall or winter, like I said, that means we got a fighting chance to actually see this entire scenario through and march into Berlin. So we just need to hold out really for another 3 to 5 months is what we're looking at. And that then represents, say, 12 to 20 turns. I say that having only survived 4 turns. But as their pace slows, that does seem a little realistic. Is when you look at, let's take this as an example. From Smolensk to Moscow, right? That's about 2 hexes per turn for winter. Something like that, right? So we just need to, in all of this heavy terrain, hold them to 2 hexes or fewer per turn for the next 12 turns. And we should then be able to hold Moscow with winter setting in and just being able to have a defensive perimeter built up here. And that's going to become a lot more realistic, and we've already seen it a little bit here where, they started to hit these areas where we have these defensive buildups, and they haven't broken through them yet. The things that they've broken through have been where we've thrown, like, airborne brigades to try to slow them down. Those are the areas in which the enemy has been able to break through. They haven't been able to break through our fortified positions that we've set up so far. So I think there's a pretty good chance for us in this. Them trying to end all of this on a more optimistic note. Anyways, we'll close out here. Next episode, we'll do organizational stuff, leader stuff. We'll look at reserves and where we're going to deploy our reserves in the next turn. And then we'll close out turn 4 by going through a simulation of what the Germans are doing, etc., etc. And we might do a little bit more of a recap then, because we'll have more time considering we've split the turn up into 3 episodes. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for giving the series a watch and your continued support. If you got any questions, comments, or feedback about the game or just general advice, please toss them in the comments section. I'll respond to them as soon as I can. And as always, strategy gamers, hoping you have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.